Hey Meno Warriors, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and I share a weekly video with you every Monday related to something around the topic of menopause or perimenopause. Today I'm actually talking about sleep. Sleep is one of those things that is so foundational and fundamental for a healthy lifestyle. And if you are struggling with things like weight gain and low mood, anxiety, that sort of thing, sleep, it really will underpin you're being able to achieve or not achieve those various things that you want to work on. I'm going to be discussing some lifestyle tips, give you some sleep-friendly food and drink ideas, and just give you a really holistic approach to how you can better improve your sleep, as well as click the link in the description. There is a free healthy sleeping habits guide there that has got all the likes of the top tips that I can share with you to help you maximize your potential to sleep. Sleep literally is key to everything. If we don't sleep well, we don't recover well. Sleep is when our muscles recover from exercise or stress from our environment, whatever we're doing on a daily basis. It's when our brains detox. So it actually cleans out our brains. It helps to get rid of those plaques that can lead to Alzheimer's disease. If you sleep poorly, you have an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, you have an increased risk of stroke, you have an increased risk of diabetes too. The reason for that is stress hormones, for example, cortisol, which necessarily tends to rise as we go through the menopause. So our estrogen levels fall, cortisol then rises. Well, cortisol makes even if you don't eat any sugar, when you are under stress, your cortisol rises and it basically increases the insulin in your body. So if you're struggling to lose weight, trying to stay away from diabetes too, you really do need to look at not only how you manage stress effectively and ideally reducing stress in your everyday life, but also really focusing on your sleep, which is going to just be the bond that everything else links from. When you have poor sleep, and we're all different. Some of us need 6 hours, 7 hours. I would say most of us need at least 7 to 8 hours. Some people might even need more. And also, if you sleep too much, that can have a detrimental effect on you too. It just leaves you feeling too sluggish. And both too little sleep and too much sleep have also been associated with an increased risk of depression. So ideally, you want to know what's best for you. I always use this story because I remember when Margaret Thatcher was alive and people used to say, well, she manages on 4 hours of sleep a day or a night. And it was all very much that hustle culture. It's just like, sacrifice has to be made and you should not be sleeping and you should be working late and screwing your eyes and your brain on your laptops and your phones and stuff. That is so wrong. Margaret Thatcher died from Alzheimer's, which is those plaques. And if you're not getting sufficient sleep, you have a much greater increased risk of developing those plaques in your brain arteries, your brain blood vessels. So just be really aware of that. You need to know what your sweet spot is and also get really tough on yourself at maintaining a regular healthy sleep pattern. Of course, there are going to be occasions where you may party all night long, or something happens. Sometimes we just don't sleep very well. If we're ill, if we're fighting off a cold, if we're particularly worried about something, it does affect our sleep. But chronic sleep deprivation, so I'm talking sort of a period of sort of 2.5 weeks and beyond, that is not good. And I would really try the lifestyle factors. Well, I would always suggest that, I would never say go and get some sleeping tablets. But there are herbal things that you can try as well. And to be quite honest, a lot of us do not put enough emphasis on our sleep. And when we do the things that I'm going to share with you today, it vastly increases your chance of sleeping well. I used to sleep historically terribly. After I'd had the children, I'd sort of wake up. Well, I think I'm quite a light sleeper. Any noise and it's like, oh, I'm awake. And my cats and dogs keep me awake sometimes, and one of them yowls and it's just really annoying, but that's the way she is. And so historically I've been a very, very poor sleeper. I can't remember the last time I had a good night's sleep. I mean, a full night's sleep, until I started to do what I'm going to share with you today. And I got bossy with myself. It was like, okay, Kate, you're gonna have to be a little bit boring. You're gonna have to discipline yourself. And when I disciplined myself, I started to sleep really, really well. Poor sleep also has an increased risk of suicide. It has an increased risk of making you hit the bottle, an alcohol bottle. And if you're trying to lose weight, you're really going to struggle if your sleep is off. So just be aware of that. On top of that, you are likely to get more cramps at night. You may struggle with more restless leg syndrome if that's something that you struggle with. And it also has a negative impact on your self-esteem. You're going to struggle with memory, concentration, focus. And we know that as we go through perimenopause and menopause, brain fog is a real thing. Anxiety, we're more prone to anxiety. We're more prone to stress. We lose our resilience to stress to a certain degree. And of course, we have all the physiological changes going on as well. So hot flushes, night sweats, that crushing anxiety that hits you at 2 a.m. in the morning. All these things contribute to a poor night's sleep. So not only do we need to be really mindful to set ourselves up for success for a good night's sleep, we also have to understand that going through perimenopause and menopause, it might have a really negative impact on your quality of sleep. So even more reason for you to think, right, okay, I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I sleep better. And when you start to sleep better, you're going to find some of your other menopause related symptoms are going to improve. So some common sleep issues around menopause, like I mentioned already, for hot flashes, if you get those a lot throughout the night, that really does have a habit of waking you up. Same with night sweats. They fall under the same umbrella, but they're a slightly different thing. They're similar beasts, they're sort of cousins, but they're not identical. But again, of course, those are going to interrupt your sleep pattern. It might be that you struggle with restless legs. You might develop sleep apnea. We have more of a tendency to develop sleep apnea once we go through the menopause. It could be that you are just, like I mentioned earlier, your resilience to stress has fallen. And so things are playing on your mind even more. I think I hear a lot of women say that when they going through the perimenopause with the hormonal fluctuations, you get that busy brain. It's happened to me before, something I have locked onto in the early hours, even though it's not that important. But could I let it go? No, not at all. It kept prancing around the inside of my head. I can't actually remember what the topic was, but it wasn't anything super important. And it kept me awake. And also things like if there's something that might niggle you in daylight hours, I don't know, maybe somebody's behaved towards you in a certain way that's really got your back up, or somebody said something to somebody else that really bothered you. You know, in a normal daily life, you probably let that go. Not through menopause, not in the early hours. It can come and it can it's like it's screw drives into your ear and it sits in your brain and it goes around and round and round and round. And no matter how hard you try, you can't get the bloody thing out of your head. And then the next morning you think, why did I waste so much time thinking about it or working myself up around this silly thing? But it happens. We have a greater tendency to do this. So if you do that, please don't think you're alone. I think it happens to loads of it. It happens to me, happened to me worse before I started to work on my sleep hygiene. But sometimes I let things go too. Normally I'm really good with my nutrition 80% of the time. And sometimes I just let that slip a bit too. And I notice when I do, when these things slip, my symptoms get worse. We have so much control over our symptoms. I say week in, week out, but you have so much control over your symptoms. You might be feeling completely hopeless and you might be thinking, what the heck are you talking about, Hartley? I absolutely promise you, get serious about being the driver of how you experience the menopause. It's not a medical issue. If your adrenal health is in good standing, so you're not stressed a lot of the time, or when there is stress, you're able to manage it more effectively, your symptoms will be significantly reduced. Your menopause experience is tightly linked to your adrenal health. And of course, poor sleep going to have a negative impact on your adrenal health. It's almost like your sympathetic nervous system goes into override. So mentioned this before, sympathetic nervous system is our stress response. Our parasympathetic nervous system is what brings it all down. That's our relaxation response. We are much more triggered and more at risk of our sympathetic nervous system ruling the day when we're going through the perimenopausal and menopausal years. So what do hormones actually do to contribute to our poor sleep in menopause? Estrogen and progesterone are the main two hormones, and melatonin actually, but I'll go into that in a little while. So when our sex hormones are fluctuating so wildly, it does have a physically negative impact on your ability to sleep and to rest effectively. So estrogen is related to thermoregulation. So that is why you might be getting your hot flushes, and you also might be getting those chills after you've had a hot flush. And those can also contribute to those night sweats. Progesterone is more our calming hormone. And of course, that falls when we go through perimenopause, fluctuating through perimenopause and then continues to fall off through menopause and beyond. That, as it falls, can have a real effect on how well we sleep. It has quite an important role in our level of deep sleep, which is when we're really, really healing and recovering and flushing our brain, etc. Melatonin, the hormone that directly influences our sleep, is also regulated by estrogen. So again, another reason why you might be struggling to go to sleep and also stay asleep once you are asleep. By the way, if you're waking up regularly at around sort of 2-ish in the morning, that could be a busy liver. If you're not following a particularly healthy lifestyle, your liver goes into a lot of work in the early hours to cleanse itself. It's our detoxifying organ. And if it's got a lot of work to do, because it's generating so much energy, that can also have a negative impact on making you wake up in the early hours. Now, melatonin, that's obviously our sleepy hormone. One of the ways that you can really promote the supply of melatonin is to get outside early in the morning. So shortly, as soon as you can after you wake up. And I know sometimes it's hard because you might be leaving to go to work in the dark and you don't get back until late in the, in the winter months, it's just dark, dark, dark. If you can, once you get to work, if you go and you make yourself a coffee or a cup of tea or whatever it is that you do, if you're able just to get outside for even just 10 minutes, and rather than sitting at your desk, getting it all started for the day, how about going outside and just letting the ultraviolet get onto your skin and into your eyes? I don't suggest you glare at the sun, but just be outside in the daylight. That is going to help to trigger the melatonin to then come into your system when it's ready, when your body's ready to shut down for the end of the day. Normally we have a burst of cortisol in the morning. That is designed, that's normal. We need it. It sort of helps us get out of bed. It motivates us to get on with our day. The sun rises, or it gets light at least, and we have more cortisol. As the day goes on, those cortisol levels generally drop off. And as cortisol levels drop off, our melatonin levels start to increase. So you really want to prioritize or encourage that melatonin release as the day goes on. And you can do that by almost like initiating your circadian rhythm, your circadian clock, which is, how your body does sleep and waking hours. And you can help that by getting out into the daylight in the early part of the day. And that will also help you sleep better. If you can't get out into the daylight in the early part of the day, maybe pop out at lunchtime, just do 10-15 minutes. If you're allowed to go out for a quick walk, go and grab a quick walk. Just time outside is going to be so beneficial for you. Walking is really calming. It has a really positive impact on your nervous system, sort of helps stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system, that relaxation response. It's also a very safe and easy way of getting extra activity into your day, and it is going to help you improve your chances of sleep later on in the day. So if you're struggling with sleep, download the guide that I'm sharing. If you watch this on Instagram or Facebook, click the link in my bio. You can get it from there. Go into the free resources folder. If you struggle to find it, just message me. I'll send it to you. There are several things that you need to be doing. Get out into the daylight as soon as you can, if you're able to. Exercise. I'm going to say it, but we all need to exercise. It helps us gobble up stress hormones. It helps to trigger that relaxation response. One thing I would suggest that you do not do is high intensity cardio type exercise close to bed, because that is going to trigger your stress hormones again. I used to run a Krav Maga, it's a bit like Fight Club class on a Wednesday and a Friday evening. I was 99.9% of the time the only girl in there, and the guys, they were big fellas, and it is proper fighting. It's a form of self-defense. It's close combat fighting. It's what the Israeli Defense Forces use. It is full on. And I used to get home absolutely dog tired. Could I go to sleep? No way. And it wasn't until I'd experienced that, I was just like, why can I never go to sleep after I've been to Krav Maga? And it was because of the stress hormones that were coursing through my system. I didn't understand that in those days. That was before I got into all of this sort of healthy lifestyle stuff. And so heavy duty exercise is not going to be your best ally. Walking is, exercise during the day is absolutely fine. If you're struggling with stress, struggling with anxiety, avoid the really heavy duty cardio. I mean, to be honest, as menopause comes through, you need to be doing more strength training, go lower impact. I now do a much lower impact workouts for shorter period of time. They're much more gentle on my bones, my joints. I get great results. So what you want to be doing is follow like compound move workouts. So you're working several different parts of the body at the same time in a safe way, really focusing on your form. If you want to get started with the workout programs that I use, again, just send me a message, say, can you tell me about the workouts that you use? And I'll share some information with you, because they are absolutely perfect for helping you to lose weight, burn fat more effectively, and create lean sculpted muscles. Even if you have a significant amount of weight to lose, and I'm talking sort of 100 pounds plus, we have the best nutritional system that will help you do that. And not in a way that you're going to think, oh no, I'm starving myself, I'm depriving myself. Not at all. It's geared around eating large portions of food, but it will inform you about how to eat large portions of food and actually lose weight at the same time. It's brilliant. It works incredibly well. And you may not want to start workouts just yet. You may want to focus on your nutrition and also your mindset. You get incredible mindset support when you join me too. So mindset really is key to everything. And if you're struggling with mindset, we need to work on that as well. So you get support from every angle. You get the workout, you get the nutrition, you get the mindset, you get my private group, you get my private support, and the whole package. You will definitely reach your goals. I absolutely 100% promise you, if you let me help you, you will get to where you want to go. And you'll stay there. You won't, it's not like yo-yo darting. It's very much a for lifestyle type thing. And it's fun. You have so much energy. You just feel great. And it will help your hormones as well. So not too much strenuous activity. Outside early, if you're able to. Avoid blue screens. Avoid the screens before bed. Ideally, an hour and a half as a minimum before bed. Anything like this. If I have to do work at night, I think, no, I'm not going to do it now, because I know it messes up my sleep so badly. Even if it's really important, I'd rather go to bed early and get up early the next morning and attack it then, because then it's loaded at the beginning of the day. It doesn't matter. It's not going to negatively impact my sleep. So screens are some of the worst. Make sure, if you're able to, if you're not afraid of the dark, go dark at night time. Turn all the lights out. The ghosts don't need the lights on. If an intruder, I always say, if I think most of us leave a light on because we think, oh God, what if there's an intruder? How am I going to find whatever you want to find? You know your house much better than an intruder will do. Go dark. And if you need to get up to go to the bathroom and you need to see where you're going, you can either use the light on your phone. They all have those little torches on, or I bought a couple of these. I think they were like 20 quid each. They're from Amazon. They're small little lights and they are motion sensors. So when anything moves in front of them, they just go on. It's a really dim light. The batteries last forever, and it just lights up that area that you need to have lit up for a short period of time. So those work perfectly. So rather than having a light on all night long, consider something along those lines. Blackout curtains if you struggle with the daylight waking you up. Obviously in the winter time it's not such an issue, but for the summer months it might be that you need to put some blackout blinds up or blackout lining on the curtains that you've got, or buy an eye mask. That's a lot cheaper and it's a lot easier. So just invest in an eye mask. You can get, I've got a lovely eye mask that I wear during the summer months if I know I want to sleep a little bit later. Make sure it's a nice big one, because then it cuts out all the light that might filter through. Have a very busy brain before you go to bed. And again, this is something that I do. Download some Audible books. whether they are personal development related, whether they're fiction, choose something that you enjoy. It can be action and adventure, because the whole point of listening to it, people say don't watch something that's going to stimulate you before bedtime. Don't watch anything action or adventure-y or thriller-esque. I actually don't think that makes much difference, to be quite honest. Sometimes just listening to a story takes the busyness away from your brain and just allows you to focus on something that you enjoy, and it's a bit of an escape. Just do not have your device plugged into the electricity socket if you're wearing earphones, because if there is a surge, it could electrocute you. It has electrocuted people in the past, and it has killed them. So make sure you're never charging your phone if you wear earphones. But that is something with Audible, you can set it on a timer, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then it just fades out. And it's a really easy way of just going to sleep. And again, if you wake up during the early hours and you've got a busy brain, listen to your book, put it on for another 15 minutes. It helps. Most times I don't even listen to the 15 minutes. I fall back asleep again. Occasionally I've listened to 2 or 3 hours, very, very rarely, during times of huge stress and lots of other things going on at the same time, but really horrible things going on at the same time. But at least you're listening to something. The way I look at it is, I'm either going to fall asleep or I'm going to listen to a really interesting story, rather than lying there ruminating, oh my God, and just making myself even more and more stressed. At least I'm listening to something. So consider doing that. But download that book, the guide that's linked in the description for you. I think you'll find that really, really helpful. So moving on to foods that can help you sleep well, and foods to avoid as well, or drinks to avoid. Obviously, caffeine. If you're eating dark chocolate before bed, just know that it's quite high in caffeine. So if you love a dark chocolate at the end of the night, make sure it's just 1 square. Normally you don't need more, actually, if it's the high, 75%, 80% cacao, raw cacao solids. I can't talk today. Avoid drinking coffee. Avoid very sugary things, because those are stimulating you in the wrong way, and they're going to keep you awake for longer. Avoid going to bed on a really, really full tummy. This is something I always used to do as a youngster. I used to eat and eat and eat massive portions, and I'd get to bed and I could barely move. I felt like a really fat little pig. So, but it does have a negative impact on your sleep. So be mindful of when you're eating, stop when you feel about 80% full, because the food that you've just eaten still got to get down into your tummy. There's nothing wrong in having leftovers. Leftovers make a great lunch for the next day. So be mindful of when you're eating. Eat a bit more slowly if you're able to. Things that you can eat. Foods high in tryptophan. Tryptophan gets converted into serotonin in our body. It helps us release serotonin, one of our happy hormones. Foods high in tryptophan, dark chocolate. That comes with a caveat. Nuts, seeds, tofu, bananas, turkey, chicken, coriander, tofu, soy-based products, leafy vegetables, essentially eggs. I said coriander. I mean, these are all off the top of my head, but if you eat a healthy, balanced diet, you are going to be getting the foods that are going to help stimulate that release of serotonin. Gut health is very, very important, and it's something I've talked about quite extensively in the past. A bit like sleep, if your gut health is off, you're going to really struggle to lose excess weight. You're going to really struggle with skin outbreaks. You're going to struggle more with anxiety and stress. Gut health is absolutely vital for good mental health. And if you struggle with your gut health, again, message me, because I have something that would work really well for you. It's a 4-week gut healing system, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I've done it. I don't think I got any food sensitivities, but I did it and followed it, and my menopause symptoms vanished. It was quite incredible, and it helps you understand, what proportion of which macros you should eat on a daily basis. For me, I should be eating 6 containers of veggies, 2 containers of fruit, 4 of proteins, 4 of carbs as well. I eat more carbs on this than I ever ate before, and I still lost weight and felt amazing through it. So it works incredibly well. It obviously sorts out your healthy fats and that sort of things as well. Very simple. it will get you the most amazing results. So be mindful of just eating a healthy, balanced diet. Make sure you're well hydrated, drink plenty of water. A lot of people find a warm milk drink really helpful. I'm not a great fan of cow's milk, to be quite frank. I just think it's really weird that we're the only mammal that drinks the milk of another animal. Our closest animal relation is like the ape, and we don't drink ape's milk. So I just think it's really weird that we would ever drink cow's milk, to be quite frank. I drink oat milk if you're interested, but a milk drink can be really soothing. I know several people who have a warm milk with a little dash of honey, cow's milk, dash of honey with it at night time, and it really helps them go to sleep well. So again, I think it's about see what works best for you. I have a sleepy tea. I have either chamomile or chamomile and valerian or lemon balm. Lemon balm is fantastic if you struggle with anxiety. In fact, I've just had a big batch of fresh lemon balm tea leaves delivered today. I don't really struggle with anxiety anymore, but it will help soothe you in a really lovely holistic way if you struggle with anxiety or stress-related problems. So I think the important thing to take away from this is you're not alone. Sleep is a major issue, not for just menopausal women either. I mean, for entire nations, it's a problem. I think a lot of people, on average, I saw when I was doing some research for this, people struggle to even get 6 hours of sleep these days. Just know that there are serious health implications if you do not prioritize your sleep. You are doing nobody, least of all yourself, a favor if you are sacrificing sleep for a career or anything else. And yeah, I understand we all have bills to pay. You have got to find a way to prioritize your sleep more effectively. If you struggle with sleep, follow a strict sleep pattern. So go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning. I've never followed that myself, in all honesty. I just think if I need to sleep, if I don't have to get up in the morning and I need to sleep an extra hour and a half, I would rather sleep another hour and a half. I think, again, see how it works for you. But if I was at my wit's end, really struggling with sleep, I would do that, because all the sleep specialists say follow a strict sleep routine, get to bed by this time every night and wake up at this time every morning. Even if you don't have to wake up at that time in the morning, wake up at that time in the morning. I really hope some research comes out in the future that says, actually, that's really old-fashioned, we don't do it that way anymore. But at the moment, that's what all the sleep specialists suggest. So if you're really struggling, give it a try. Also track your food and drink. Just track your daily ablutions, toilet, how much water are you drinking? Did you eat enough? What's your mood like? How well did you sleep? And let all those things that you're tracking dictate, how are your menopause symptoms on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 being whichever way you want, maybe great, 0 being terrible. And the same with your mood. How is your mood? 10 being great, 0 being terrible. How is your sleep? 10 being great, 0 being terrible. And it will help you put a picture together that shows you what's working or what's not working. Tracking reveals so much to you. And yeah, you might think, oh, it's boring, I haven't got time to track. Have you got time to be ill? Have you got time to forgo any more healthy sleep? Because, to be honest, if you've got to this end of the video, bloody track. You don't have to do it for long. Try it for a couple of weeks. It will show you so much. It's time well invested. It will make you feel really proud as well, because you're thinking, oh, you're taking action to overcome something that you're struggling with. And if you want any further advice, just message me. Just know that there is so much that you can do to make your journey through the menopause more pleasurable, more energized, less stressy, and focus on sleep, because it really is the foundation for everything. So thank you for your company. If you've got any comments, if you struggle with sleep, if you found something that works for you, please pop it in the comments below. If you've not yet subscribed, make sure you do so you don't miss a future video. You can also click the bell icon. That will notify you that I've added a new video for you, and look forward to chatting with you again next week.